So I'm from the state of Florida, no jokes please, but what it looks like in my community is a range, right? There's 136 different tables or partners at the table, and they each represent different communities. But the bottom line, the thing that runs through all of those communities is the fight for fair maps just looks like having your voice heard. We want to make sure those people, especially marginalized folks, feel like they have representation and that their voices are not diluted, but they are heard and they have representation. Yeah, I think what I like to keep drawing people back to is these are not just lines. They're not just lines on a map. These lines decide whether or not neighbors are gonna have representation or not. And so what that looks like, if you are divided by a line and you happen to be represented by someone who does not look like your community, who does not know the issues in your community, what happens is sometimes you fall short, you don't get the resources you need, your voice is diluted like we talked about before, because they don't know what your issues are. And so drawing those lines when they don't have the context to draw those lines and separating people in the community often lead to the dilution of voices and people being underrepresented, underfunded, and under-resourced. Man, okay, so the first thing I want to tell y'all is Florida is a part of the South. And the stories that we have all across our state are the stories that we see in places that are traditionally the South, right? And so how we're connected, the one thing I like to tell people all the time is what you see happening in one spot often happens in another spot. It's just a testing ground. So the case that we're talking about right now is also, like tomorrow, Florida is gonna be in session as well and releasing their map. So I think that it's really important to say, so goes the South, so goes the rest of the nation. And so that's how we're all connected. We're connected by the storyline that whatever is happening here is the rest of the nation soon to follow. What I want people to understand about this work that's happening right now is that it's nothing new. It's the same thing that our ancestors have been fighting for. The work cannot slow down, it has to continue. And each generation has to be given the history of what's happened in the past so that they have the ability to hold that history and continue to fight to maintain what's been fought for, and also to have the wherewithal to know that they have to continue to fight so that we can achieve the dream that Martin Luther King talked about. So I would want people to leave here knowing that agreement is not enough. It also has to have alignment, and what that looks like is them being educated and also having a structure to move to action. I think what I want people to do is be involved, and that's on us, right? People are not apathetic. People are tired. People are overwhelmed. And what we need to be able to do is make this very accessible so that once they have the education, they know exactly where they can lean in to do the work to change their communities, and it has to be led by them. What's giving me hope right now is that people are still engaged. We talked about people being tired, people being overwhelmed. We talk about all the messaging that's coming out, but people are still showing up. And we know that from seeing things like No King's Day, right? People are still showing up. So that's giving me hope. And the thing that we have to do is when they show up, we have to give them a structure to line into. So I think that's what's giving me hope, is that people are still engaged.